Pastor Weston here with Grace Point Community Church. I want to thank you for joining us for our daily devotional that we'll be having this week, and also encourage you to participate. We're going to be having a discussion later on today at 2 p.m. We'll be meeting. There's a link below on how you can get connected there. Also a phone number and meeting code. Would love to have you participate in that, to be a part of our community. We're going to be discussing how to find peace in a relationship with Jesus Christ, even in times like these. Our reading today is from John chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. So this whole thing of finding peace, finding personal peace or inner peace, some might call it, it's kind of a big deal in our culture. And if you've ever heard someone say something like, "I'm going off to find myself," that's probably what they were really looking for. And when I was a young adult, fresh out of high school, I moved to Bush, Alaska. And, like most teenagers, I was headstrong. And I knew that I had the world figured out already. I didn't realize it at first. But I was still trying to figure out who I was. A family friend gave me some really important advice. He said that if you want to understand the people in a particular place, that you need to understand the history of that particular place. And I found that the same was true for me. That in finding out who I was, I needed to understand who I was in the context of my family, of my community. I needed to understand more than just myself. Maybe you found the same thing to be true, that while you don't necessarily identify with your family and everything, your identity, the things that you like and dislike, the essence of who you are has been shaped and molded by your history, and even by the history of your family, the history of the place that you're from. And so if we really want to find ourselves, it's not just about looking inside, it's about looking beyond ourselves. And so in our reading today for our devotional on peace, we're starting at the very beginning. Here in John chapter 1, John makes it explicit what was implicit in Genesis 1. And that's the first great mystery of the Bible, that we worship one God who is described in a plural sense. In the New Testament, we can describe this more clearly as one God in three persons. Matthew 28:19 even identifies them together here: Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So if we start at the beginning, we quickly find that even before people first sinned, and that's the real big problem that separates us from God, that separates us from the peace that we can only find in community with God. Even before that first sin, we were never created to be perfect alone. We were created for community by a God of community. In Genesis and John 1, they both start from the beginning, and we learn two critical things about our search for personal peace this week. Number one, to understand who we are, we have to look beyond ourselves. Again, we were created in the image of a God who lives in community, who is community. Another way to say that is that we are created in the image of a God who lives in love, who is love. And the second thing is that we can understand ourselves best in the light that comes from God's living Word. That's Jesus. Jesus knows you because he created you. He knows the real truth about who you are and the life that you were created to live. So again, I just want to encourage you to join us for discussion later today. I'm really looking forward to talking with you. We're going to spend about half an hour together going through this passage and any other questions that you have as we weather this social distancing period and this global pandemic together. Again, thank you so much for your time. Have a good day and God bless.